Whether you're a magic user looking to upgrade your staff, a tank needing to defend your friends, or an archer needing a new bow, the woodworking skill in ESO can provide you with what you need to be successful in your endeavors. I'm LordKelbor and welcome to the channel. In this part of our guide series, I'll be focusing on the woodworking skill line in ESO. I've tried to make this as easy to follow as possible for those who are newer to ESO, or even those who may have played for a while but haven't gotten into the crafting side of things yet. And as usual, if you find any of this info useful, just hit that like button and let me know you enjoyed it in the comments below. And don't forget to share it with your friends and family if you think it might help them as well. Like I said, for this guide we'll be focusing on woodworking, and I'll include both basic pieces as well as covering how to craft sets for your characters. Alright, let's get started. Inside of the woodworking bench, you'll see 6 tabs across the top. Refining, where you refine raw materials into usable materials. Creation, where you actually create your pieces. Deconstruction, where you deconstruct pieces. Improvement, where you increase the quality of your staves, bows, and shields. Research, which is how you learn new traits to add to your staves, bows, and shields. And lastly, blueprints, where you'll find furnishings that you can make using your woodworking skills. For this guide, we'll be focusing on creation and improvement, but definitely explore the others at your leisure. Okay, so for this guide we'll be making a bow, but this can be applied to any of the items inside of the woodworking bench. In order to make the item, we'll need to make sure we have the correct refined materials. Each material has a range of levels that it's able to make, so as we scroll through you can see which material you'll need for your character's level. Below the materials section is the style. This determines what style of weapon or shield you'll be making. So take a moment and look through what you know and find the one that looks good for you. The next option down will be what trait you want on your bow, and you will have to have these researched in order to use them while crafting. Once you select your desired trait, and as long as you have all of the required materials, make sure everything looks right, and just hit craft. That's pretty easy, right? You just made your first bow. Now, this is a basic bow that you can enchant and use. It will provide you with some benefits depending on what trait or enchantment you put on it. Let's move on to something a little bit more challenging: craftable armor and weapon sets. I'm sure you've seen armor sets throughout Tamriel. You know, the ones that give you a bonus based on how many pieces of the set you're wearing. Well, there are some you can craft instead of buying them or farming dungeons for them. True, there is a bit of a catch to it, but I'll get into that in a minute. In order to craft these sets, you'll need to find the crafting station location, which is shown on your map with this symbol. This particular one is the Adept Rider set. Or, if you're in a larger guild, you may be lucky like myself and have access to a large crafting area with all of the attunable crafting stations like this. In order to find which sets you might want, I recommend ESO-hub.com. I'll have a link to it in the description below, and I definitely like how they have all their information sorted. Luckily for me, my guild has these lined up in alphabetical order, so let's find Adept Rider set again and make ourselves a bow. Inside of the Creation tab, you can see there are 2 different options, one for set creation and one for regular creation. For this, we'll be using the set creation. So here's where the small catch is for craftable sets. You have to have researched a certain number of traits in order to make a piece from that set. Taking Adept Rider for example, you'll need to have learned 3 traits for whatever piece you're wanting to make in order to be able to make it. In this case, that means you'll have to have researched at least 3 of these traits to make a bow from Adept Rider. In woodworking, we can research up to 3 traits at a time based on your woodworking skills. Speaking of skills, let's go over the passives real quick. First is woodworking. This determines the level of material you can use for crafting. Next we have Keen Eye, which makes the wood nodes glow out in Tamriel so that they're a little bit more visible. Next is Lumberjack Hireling, which gives you a hireling that mails materials to you every 12 hours. This can be anything from pieces of wood to resins, all sorts of different things. Next we have Wood Extraction, which increases the chances of getting resins from the wood while refining them. Next we have Carpentry, which reduces the research time and increases the amount of items you can research at a time. And finally we have Resin Expertise. This increases the chance of improving items with resins. Okay, back to the bow we're making. The creation process is the same as making a regular non-set item. First you select your material, which determines the level. Next, you select your style, and finally, you select the trait. Once it looks right, just hit craft, and there we go. Now we have an Adept Rider's Bow, which will provide us with the set bonuses based on the number of items we wear or use from that set, up to 5 pieces. One nice thing about bows and staves is that they count for 2 items from a set, so we automatically get the first bonus from that set. And just like the normal pieces, we can enchant these as well. If you need help with enchanting, check out my enchanting guide here, and I'll have links in the description as well in case you want to finish this video first. Let's move on to improvement. In order to do so, we'll head back into the crafting station and select the improvement tab. We then select the piece we want to improve, and it will give you a window showing what the stats will be once it's improved. As you can see, both the trait and set bonus will increase when the improvement is done. If the item is enchanted, that will also be affected by the improvement as well. Once you have the correct item chosen, just hit improve, confirm it, and there you go. Now you know how to make your own bow in the set that you want, as well as how to improve it. And while we just made a bow in this guide, you can apply this knowledge to any of the other items in the woodworking station. Anyway, I hope you found this guide useful. If you did, let me know your favorite craftable item set down in the comments below. Mine is probably New Moon Acolyte. I use it on an absolute ton of my characters. It's one of my favorites to use. Now head down there, give that like button some love, and if you're new here, consider subscribing and join our growing community. Don't forget that little bell icon. That way YouTube knows that you want to know when I upload a new video. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.